Hey everyone, James Niggemeyer here. Thank you for tuning back into the YouTube channel. Today I want to talk about mental boxes. This is something that I read about and heard about many years ago. We can put ourselves into some mental boxes in bass fishing. Yesterday I had a perfect case in point happen to me on a guide trip, and it is something that I know and keep in the back of my mind. But a lot of times when you're on a guide trip or in a tournament or you have a select amount of time you can be on the water, you want to go with the high percentage baits, tactics, techniques, seasonal patterns, those types of things. And a lot of times you can miss some things that'll put a few extra fish in the boat that can make a better day of it. And that's what I want to talk about. Before I get right into it, if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, please consider doing that. It's probably one of the best ways you can support the channel. With that, let's get right into it. So it is October. Even though it's still mid 80s and almost 90 degrees, the nights are cooler, the days are shorter, the fish are reacting in such a way, it still kind of feels a little bit like summer, but we don't have as much humidity, so we know we're in fall. And the cool nights, that's another key, at least here in Texas. But I like to fish a lot of the shad type baits, buzz baits, spinner baits, square bills, bladed jigs. If you've watched any of my videos over the last couple weeks, you know that I'm big in the power fishing moving type baits that imitate shad probably about the last week of August or the second half of August, and I'll run those all the way into November and as long as I can get bites on it, because obviously it's fall and a lot of those shad have moved out of deep water. They're suspended out over open water. There's schooling activity, and there's shad that are moving in the creeks, pockets, bays, coves, and things like that. So what are the bass going to do? They're going to take advantage of those shad, and not just threadfin shad, not just shiners, but gizzard shad. So bigger shad that are in the water, maybe not that big, but gizzard shad, they can be quite big as well, and sometimes even glide baits are great at imitating those. But yesterday I was on a guide trip and we were all throwing shad imitators. Fish were schooling. They were just keyed in on the bait, and anything that we threw, I mean, we caught fish, but a lot of times they'd school right in front of us and we'd lay our baits right in there, and they were so keyed in on that bait, locked in on that size, the color, the shape, obviously it's a natural, it's the real thing. So a lot of times when you're trying to, match that hatch as best as possible, it's really hard, specifically if the water was clear or is clear, and it was, to really imitate or trick those bass when they're just seeing bunches and bunches of the real thing right in front of their face. And one of my clients in the boat with me yesterday was like, hey, I want to try a craw bait. And so he put on a craw and he was able to catch some fish that were relating to the shad, but he was either swimming it or hopping it or stroking it, just working that craw bait down low on a Texas rig with a bullet weight. And he was able to catch some fish like that. And this is something that I know a lot of times we get so keyed in, just like the bass, we get so keyed in on those shad that we just think we got to throw some sort of shad imitator. But that's not necessarily so. Sometimes we can throw some baits that don't imitate shad at all. We kind of go against the grain, go the other direction, and you can actually throw some soft plastic baits, baits that are slow moving, bottom bouncing baits, jigs, soft plastics, creature baits, craws, those types of things. And I've got a tournament coming up tomorrow, and I was thinking there's an 18-inch minimum, so I was like, I need to get better than average size fish if I'm going to do well in the event. Hey, quit. It's my dog. And so I have put together a selection of a few baits that I kind of want to go over in my mindset of what I can do to get bigger bites. And I've been on this lake about 2 weeks ago, and they were relating to shad just like they were on Lake Fork yesterday. So it's key to remember that if they don't want to bite those shad imitating baits, that I need to have something rigged and ready. And when I'm thinking about catching bigger fish, I think bigger baits. So, I mean, a lot of people throw 4-inch and 5-inch Senkos. I'm gonna rig up a 6-inch Yamasenko. And this water on this lake that we're going to is got a bit of a stain to it. almost a little bit, almost tannic. Not quite, but almost tannic colored. So whenever I have that kind of color, either June bug or plum colors always work well. So the 6-inch Senko, I'm gonna, fish that probably weightless. If not, I'll just put a little bitty weight on it and fish that around those fish that are trying to eat shad. And I've got a few other ones that I'm going to try as well. I've got the 7-inch Speed Senko. Now these are baits that I'm gonna fish low and slow on the bottom. I'm not gonna be buzzing them around or anything like that. I'm gonna try to pick off some fish that are, when it comes to schooling activity, a lot of times there's aggressive fish eating those bait fish, breaking up those schools of bait. They're injuring shad. Some of those are falling to the bottom. But at any rate, there's gonna be bass that are gonna be following the school lower in the water column. And I'm hoping to pick off some of those with a 7-inch Speed Senko. So that's a good one. Big bait, nice vibrating type tail as I swim it through the water column. Again, same type color. This one's plum apple. I feel like that could be a good one. And with the water temperature still in the 80s, I'm still thinking kind of summer type colors and different things like that. And then if they don't really want a swimming type tail, I'm gonna go with a bait that's not really talked about much. I might Nico rig it, but I might also just Texas rig it. And that's a 7-inch cuttail, Yamamoto cuttail worm. And it's like an elongated Senko, but it has that cut tail right there. It's like a curly tail, but somebody cut it off. And that thing will kind of quiver and sway. The water will catch it as you're kind of dragging around, pulling around. This is gonna be a good one for, when fish are liking a larger prey item, a larger bait size, but also when the fish aren't aggressive. So I'm gonna have some of those rigged up. Like I said, I haven't been on the lake in a couple weeks, so I'm not quite sure how they're gonna be reacting. I wanna have a couple of different options rigged and ready. So the cut tail, the Speed Senko, and then I remember these that I got. These are the 6-inch Yamamoto Sungill, and that's just a super natural looking color. There are bluegill in and around, and so got some Sungill Senko 6-inch. That's kind of my lineup. That's kind of what I think I'm gonna actually rig up a little creature bait or a craw as well, just in case they want something with appendages. All these baits are kind of finessey type stuff, so I wanna have something that'll have a little bit of action, draw their attention. So that's my mindset for this tournament, but it's a quick tip to remember not to get into those mental boxes. I mean, we caught a bunch of fish yesterday, but the gentleman that ended up fishing the craw low and slow on the bottom, hopping it around, he actually fished it quite fast in some areas. He was able to catch some fish in and around the area when we weren't getting bites in other ways. I caught a couple on a little chatterbait type lure, but that craw definitely did the trick. That's it for now, guys. Thanks for tuning into the YouTube channel. If you got anything out of it, please give me a thumbs up and drop a comment down below. Go over to the description section. There you'll find links to my merch, Team Niggemeyer Fishing, as well as links to my Facebook, Instagram, website, and a discount code for Amphibia eye gear. Until next time, thanks for watching and good fishing.